If you ever wanted to see the Earth from another perspective, then there's no better way than to check out this week's episode of Seashow Space. In this episode, we sent one very lucky contestant to the moon to stay in a city built by humans for a whole year, and it was everything they hoped it would be and more. In 2040, humanity takes a huge step forward when the first commercial spacecraft successfully lands people on the moon. The United Nations had established a low Earth orbit space station with a crew of up to 100 people, and by 2060, the first city on the moon is opened and named Artemis City after the Greek goddess of the moon. It's not long before the city is self-sufficient and able to support around 100,000 people. It has its own solar power, water recycling, radiation shielding, and even artificial gravity made possible by rotating sections of the city. It's truly everything that someone could want in a futuristic city on the moon. But what happens when something valuable is discovered? As we know from our planet's history, it doesn't always bring people together. The main reason why Artemis City is constructed is because of helium-3. This is an isotope of helium that's rare on Earth, but abundant on the moon thanks to the solar wind. Humanity needs helium-3 to produce clean fusion energy, and estimates suggest there's about 1.5 million metric tons of it on the lunar surface. That's enough to power all of human civilization for hundreds of thousands of years. Initially, everyone shares the helium-3 equally, and there's enough to spare to send back to Earth to help solve their energy problems. But helium-3 is such a valuable resource that within a few decades, various corporations set their sights on controlling it all. Artemis City becomes the new battleground as the corporations try to build up their forces to take over the entire supply of helium-3. On one side, we have Galactic Energy, a consortium of Chinese and Indian companies who hold most of the lunar mining operations. On the other side, we have Lunar Resources, a joint venture between U.S. and European conglomerates who operate the city's infrastructure. As the two sides prepare for war, a young engineer named Alex finds himself torn between the two sides. He works for Lunar Resources and lives in the city with his wife and son, but he was born on a space station and most of his family are employed by Galactic Energy. When the war eventually erupts, it's not exactly a fair fight. Galactic Energy has superior numbers and firepower, but Lunar Resources is able to hold them off long enough for reinforcements to arrive. However, both sides suffer heavy casualties. Alex is forced to flee the city with his son while his wife stays behind to help evacuate the remaining civilians. After regrouping with his father, a high-ranking official in Galactic Energy, Alex discovers that his father is planning to use stolen technology from Lunar Resources to develop a weapon powerful enough to destroy the entire city. Torn between his loyalty to his father and his desire to protect the city where he grew up, Alex ultimately chooses the latter and turns over his father's plans to the Lunar Resources leadership. They concoct a plan to defeat Galactic Energy without destroying the city, and Alex leads the assault, reuniting with his wife and son along the way. The episode ends with the leaders of the two corporations agreeing to work together to rebuild Artemis City and divide the helium-3 evenly between them. Everyone seems happy with this arrangement, except for one disgruntled Galactic Energy officer who vows revenge and flies away in a stolen ship. Now that you know the main plot of City on the Moon, here are some details about the world of the story. Artemis City is located near the South Pole region of the Moon, where most of the helium-3 is found. The city itself is a giant glass dome about 1 kilometer in diameter and 50 meters tall. It's divided into several sections, each with their own purpose. There's the residential sector where most of the 100,000 or so people who live in the city reside. There's also a commercial sector where people shop and dine, and an industrial sector where most of the helium-3 mining and processing takes place. The city is powered by a combination of nuclear fission and fusion reactors, with fusion being the primary source of energy. There's also a large farm sector where most of the food for the city is grown. Since the soil on the moon can't support plant life on its own, the plants are grown in giant hydroponic greenhouses. The air in the city is recycled and purified, and the water comes from ice. That's mined from the lunar surface. The city is also equipped with a number of escape pods that can be launched in case of emergency. These pods are designed to carry people or cargo back to Earth or to other destinations throughout the solar system. While the city is primarily intended to be a hub for human activity, there are also a number of robots and other machines that live and work there. Many of these machines were sent to the moon ahead of the first human settlers and were designed to help them establish the city. Others have been developed since then specifically for use in the harsh environment of the moon. For example, There are robots that can mine helium-3 from the lunar regolith, as well as robots that can process the ore into usable fuel. As you might expect, the machines in Artemis City are generally friendly to humans. After all, they were created by humans and most of them are under the control of Lunar Resources, which is fighting to protect the city. However, there are a few rogue machines that have caused problems for the city's inhabitants. For example, there are mining robots that have gone haywire and attacked people. There are also robots that have been infected with the virus that makes them hostile to humans. Overall, though, the machines in Artemis City are not a major threat to the humans who live there. In fact, many of them are actually helpful and friendly. Let us know what you thought of City on the Moon in the comments below. And if you liked it, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Thanks for watching.